welcome back. We've had two sessions already. We're going to the third one, and the topic, the role of the African American in Africa's transformation. That's the next topic, and who better to go into this than an African American who has huge interest in Africa, who has demonstrated his keenness, by making very, very demanding changes in his own life. Richard Ezeagu Akinyemi, born in Alabama, actually officially changed his name to reflect his Nigerian ancestry, having done DNA tests to show that he's part Yoruba and part Igbo, two of Nigeria's major tribes. He'll be discussing the role of the African American diaspora in Africa's transformation. He comes to the table as well with long years of experience as a financial advisor and an investment specialist. Richard, welcome. Thank you for sparing your time this evening, and we have 15 minutes for you. Thank you.
Thank you so much. It's very exciting to be here. I was very honored when I was asked to speak on this topic. So I want to thank everyone that's assembled on this video conference today, because the fact that you're here means that you care about Africa and Africa moving forward. I was looking in the chat and some people were saying, why 2063? Why not now? Nothing prevents us from starting now. Every change that we make now will help to change the future. I am an American Nigerian, and actually many African Americans who are learning of their heritage are calling themselves American Africans instead, or instead of African American, they're calling themselves American Africans. Just like I have named myself an American Nigerian. I learned in 2013, I took a trip to Nigeria. It would be a life-changing trip. I actually, oh, you know what? I forgot to start my time. So please let me know when I have 2 minutes left. Thank you. I went to Nigeria in 2013, and that was a life-changing trip. I went with my longtime doctor, who is Nigerian, who had exposed me to Nigerian culture. I used to go to the Independence Day celebration, so I love Nigerian food and everything. And then when we went to 4 different cities in Nigeria: Abuja, Lagos, Abeokuta, and Badagry. And for those of you that don't know, Badagry is the point of no return that our enslaved ancestors were taken from, the last place that they saw in Nigeria before they were taken away. And every place I went, people were asking me if I was Nigerian. Of course, my answer was, I don't know. I'm African American. Enslavement happened, so I'll have to do some DNA. But they wouldn't stop there. The Igbos would say, you are an Igbo man. I tell you, you're an Igbo. And then the Nigerians would say, the Yorubas would say, you have Yoruba features. I believe you are a Yoruba man. I said, well, and the thing that's so interesting is the Igbos never saw the Yoruba side and the Yorubas never saw the Igbo side. I'm still a little puzzled about that today. But at any rate, when it was confirmed, when I came back home and I did my DNA, and it literally told me that I'm 92% West African, with the highest concentration was Igbo and Yoruba on my father's side, and actually Ghanaian on my mother's side. But I was so excited about being Nigerian, no offense to the Ghanaians, because I had been so exposed to the Nigerian culture that I was just really excited about being a Nigerian. So I changed my name to reflect my American. Richard is my African American culture, which is a rich culture in itself. And it actually means powerful ruler. Ezeagu is Igbo for king of lions, and Akinyemi is Yoruba for a warrior king well suited to power. I'm wearing Yoruba attire right now, but if you go on my Instagram at Ezeagu Akinyemi, you will see that I have pictures of me in Igbo and in Yoruba, because I am learning about both cultures. So for me, when I changed my name, it was nullifying the legacy of enslavement. I believe that for me, that, for those of you that don't know, that there's over 47 million African Americans, and our last names are usually connected to the plantation where our ancestors were freed from when they were emancipated. So that really connects the 47 million African Americans to the enslaved past, even to this day. So I nullified the legacy of enslavement when I changed my name. But I am part of what I call the hidden diaspora. There are over 200 million of us in the United States, Canada, the Caribbean, as well as South America, over 200 million. But the wave is coming. DNA is happening. People are learning their tribes. They're learning, and they're very curious about it. So my vision for the future, Africa 2063, and as I said earlier, it doesn't have to wait till 2063. We can begin now. First, I think we need to nullify the legacy of colonization. How do we do that? I think the first step is to change the name. Any country that is still named, they're independent, but they still have the name of the colonizer. Let me pick on Nigeria because I'm an American Nigerian. Nigeria has not chosen their own independent name yet. Well, they're independent, but they have not nullified the legacy of colonization. It begins with the people choosing their name, because even though the conglomeration of what is Nigeria now was never that way before, it is what it is now. And the people need to put some suggestions up, vote, and change their name. And I will take it one step further. The African continent needs to change its name. Does not need to be Africa. The people of Africa need to decide what the name of that continent is. And that nullifies the legacy of colonization. But second, there needs to be a new paradigm, because in the chat, I've been watching the chat, people are saying, we need to do this, we need to do that. Yes, we do. But it's not going to be through a leader. If you haven't noticed, every leader that is trying to do something positive for the continent is mysteriously getting killed. It's the same thing for Black leaders in America. So we need a new paradigm. We can't, the definition of insanity is doing things the same way. I mean, doing the same thing and expecting a different result. Okay. So we don't need to look to a single leader. No, there's going to be thousands of leaders in every country. What I've termed the phrase blockchain economics. So I want to give you an example. So what is blockchain economics? Central idea, autonomous groups. Let's look at two examples militarily of what I'm suggesting economically. In Vietnam, the Vietnamese people faced the United States, superior in funding, superior in equipment, superior on paper in every way. But they gave America everything they could handle, and by some accounts, some people say they won that war. America says it was a draw. They say they won. But the bottom line is they shouldn't have been able to stand on the field with the American military. But they did, because they didn't do it in a traditional way. They didn't have a central place that America could just bomb and take out command and control. They had a central idea, but they had autonomous groups. To wipe them out, you would have to kill every cell, okay? Afghanistan, Russia's gone in there, not successful. America's gone in there, not successful. Why? Same principle, central idea, autonomous groups. That's what we have to do in an economic manner. So we need to apply. Let me give you an example. Everyone's here on their computer. Open up an internet browser to YouTube and put in the name Jerry, Jerry, Mallo, Mallo. This is a 25-year-old Nigerian engineer. I believe, my opinion, is he's one of the most brilliant engineers in the world. He went, and on YouTube, you'll see when you first put his name in, you'll see he came home to his parents' chagrin. He made a composite car, the lightest composite sports car in the world. And the auto industry got their attention. But I guess he said, well, we're not going to sell as many sports cars as we will tractors. So he got like-minded people together, like-minded engineers, and they started a company called Benny Agro Limited. It sells tractors in Jos, Nigeria. Okay, that is what we're going to have to do. Right now, we have 61 people on this call. That means we have 61 areas of expertise. We have 61 areas of passion. So I'm going to ask you, what are you going to do? The fact that you're on this call tells me you're a person of action. You didn't have to be on this call today. You could have been doing other things. So what are you going to do? What's your area? I have plans to move back to Africa. My area is the thing that I'm not only investment do I want to concentrate on, but I have really studied this, and then we've discussed this in the One Africa Initiative think tank platform. And I said, if we focus on two areas, two key areas. It will have transformative effect across the African continent, and that is security and affordable housing. Why those two? If you have security, a place that is peaceful, a place where people think, hey, I don't mind having my wife here because I think she's safe, a place where a single woman can come and say, hey, I can walk out at night and I feel like I will be okay, then that is a place where people don't mind coming to, okay? And affordable housing gives them the ability to be able to stay in an area. When you start building affordable housing, you create economic impact. That's why housing starts are one of the most watched measures and indicators in every industrialized country, because you have to have so many things when you build a house: roofing, plumbing, electrician, building materials, appliances, decorations, curtains. I mean, all these things. I mean, it's just so many, such an economic impact. And so if you have that, what you're going to have is the hidden diaspora as well as the African diaspora coming back to Africa in record numbers. It's actually already happening. Just from my little random sample of people, there are about 15 people that are going to, a friend just moved to Tanzania. They told me it's not Tanzania. They said Tanzania. I want several building this year, buying land in Ghana and building homes. And these are African Americans that are doing this. There's a wave. You're not gonna hear it on the news, okay? So it's already happening. So in conclusion, I want to say it's time for action, okay? You're on this call because you're a person of action. So we need to get in our individual groups what you have a passion for, what your expertise is, and you need to make plans to do something positive in Africa. It's not going to be one charismatic leader. It's going to be thousands of leaders in every country, in every discipline. Just like Jerry Mallow, get people that are like-minded, do something positive that you see needs to happen. There's been a 400-year malignment of people of color, Black people, absolute malignment. But I want us all to realize something. We are the most copied people on the planet, whether you're talking about African Americans, Africans, Afro-Brazilians. We are the most copied people on the planet. You only copy those that you admire, and imitation is the sincerest form of flattery. So when I was standing on the shores of Badagry, before I knew by confirmation that I was Nigerian, the Nigerian people had told me, before I knew, God gave me a poem. The poem is, it's in your DNA, and it goes like this. It does not matter what they say. There is greatness in your DNA. The proof is in the lies they choose to tell to make themselves feel superior. They point to chaos in different places, but hide what their hands did to bring it about. There is greatness in us, but they don't want it out. I think they know they could not compete if the field were level and they couldn't cheat. So on they go, lives filled with lies to make pretend and rationalize. They say all is equal. Why do you complain? Pretending that their constant lies have not changed the game and made people perceive just by your skin who should lose and who should win. There are some things you have to know. Don't wait for someone to tell you so. Reject the lies of yesterday. Embrace the greatness in your DNA. I'm the beginning of a wave. The cousins are coming. Africa needs to get ready. Richard Ezeagu, Akinyemi. With that, I conclude.
Wow. You couldn't have ended it better. Thank you so much, Richard. Two things you said resonated with me. You talked about nullifying the legacy of slavery and colonization. And I think that piggybacks to our previous conversation on decolonization of the mind. That's very, 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 very deep. And you also talked about the new paradigm. You talked about a central idea and autonomous groups. That's you can't pin it down to one person, one organization, but a central idea that is propagated and accepted, and each person runs with a vision in their own little spaces. Fantastic. I think that's something that requires serious conversation and further thought. So we'll pause here for a minute, and when we come back, we'll take our next speaker.
Yeah.